Good job, dickhead, for making every police officer in the United States look like a complete asshole racist. There wasn't anything racial about it. This guy just had poor training, poor procedure.
I truly believe that donut operator believes racism doesn't exist. I believe he's sincere. I believe he's 100% sincere. However, I believe he doesn't have the right perception of what modern quote unquote racism is. Donut operator, from my observation, looks at racism like the form of racism that was in the South or even in the North. And the description of that type of racism is an overt type of racism. You're using the N word. You are explicitly saying that you're racist. You are explicitly saying racial things. You are saying blacks are violent. Blacks are more suspicious. Blacks are more likely to steal. You may wear a hood. Now, what I would tell donut operators is that racism, if you're looking at these police cases for racism in terms of the police officer making a racist statement towards blacks or using the N-word, you will not find racism. The type of racism that black people are talking about is a collective form of racism. It's based on frequency. Blacks being stopped exponentially more than whites. Now you may argue, well, blacks just violate the traffic codes. And I might just argue that I don't think that's the case. I don't really think that's the case that blacks are violating the street codes. Maybe it is, but could you consider the possibility that they're being stopped based on a certain type of prejudice? Blacks being arrested more for marijuana than whites, even though whites use it as much. I've even heard statistics that they use it more. Now you may dispute those statistics. How about studies that I see on TV? I mean, at least in one of these neighborhoods, you got to say that there's a racial attitude, right? A black person and a white person dressed exactly the same, pick the same bike in the same park, and exponentially more, the black person is questioned. The black person is reported on. The white person isn't. Now, you can argue that, well, that's just one study. You're right. I mean, it's just one study, but those aren't the only studies I've seen. Studies about housing, black person, white person. I mean, a exponential difference in treatment. Studies on going off the road and needing roadside assistance. The white person is the white person, whether it's white, a black person or white person, is significantly assisted more. Now, donut operator, I used to deny that racism didn't exist because I used to look at it in your way. I used to look at racism from a overt context, and that's what the media shows in terms of the historical context. But what I'm telling you, and I'm saying this nicely, is that there are certain studies that I continue to see that I can't sit here and give the benefit of the doubt anymore.